Hi there, this is Jen, and thanks for joining me. It is the 20th of the month, and that means I am back for another Oh So Inspired collaboration. Our inspiration piece this month for the month of March is up on the screen. It's this beautiful card by Christina P. And to find the other collaborators that are in this hop, you can go ahead and click on the hashtag that I have listed in the description and the title, and you can play along as well. If you want to post your projects, please use the hashtag I was oh so inspired, and we will be able to see all of your beautiful creations as well. For my first card today, I'm using this indigo blue stamp set. I think it says cheeky blossoms. I don't know if that means if it's supposed to be cherry blossoms, but cheeky blossom it is. They are red rubber stamps, and I'm doing a technique that I kind of think that I've done something a little bit similar before, but I guess you can say this video is double inspired because I saw a video from Anne Melvin, and she did this technique, and it's absolutely beautiful and just the easiest thing ever. And so I started out with two white card panels that were 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And you just want to make sure that the card panels are exactly the same size. It's super important because basically what we're going to be doing is lining up two images from two pieces of cardstock. So I've gone ahead and I've taken the black foam piece out of my MISTI because this is a red rubber stamp, and I'm going to place my first panel into my MISTI, and I am going to make sure that that is in the same position for both panels. So I made sure to kind of push that into the corner so that it was perfectly even. And I'm going to start out with these two accessory stamps and ink those up in some VersaFine black. So I'm actually going to stamp this twice. So I'm going to ink this up on the first panel, and then I'm going to leave my stamps in place. And I will remove this first panel, and then I'm going to grab the second panel and I'm going to place that exactly where I placed the first one. And since I left my stamps in place on my MISTI, that's going to ensure that my stamps are going to stamp in the exact same position as the previous panel. So I'll go ahead and stamp those up and then clean those up and remove those, and then I'm going to layer on top of that the floral stamps. So I'm just putting that at a diagonal. I'm going to follow the same process as I did for the first set of stamps that I stamped up. So I'm using the same ink. I'll go ahead and ink that up and stamp that on both of the panels. So after I've done all of my stamping, I basically have two identical card panels. And so we're going to take one of those card panels and use the cover plate die and run that through the die cut machine. And we are not going to need all of the little insert pieces, so you're just going to use kind of the outline of the die. That's the portion that we're going to use. And so basically this piece is going to be layered on top of the piece that we did not die cut, which is why it was so important to make sure that these were exactly the same. So I'm just kind of laying it on there to see how it looks. You can adhere it flat on the card panel, or you can add some foam, which is what I've done for this one. And so I've used some 1/8 inch foam strips and placed those on the back of that die cut just to add a little bit more of an effect. It looks really cool when it's raised a little bit away from the other stamped panel. And so I'm just going to line that up, and you just have to find one focal point that is on your image that you can line up. What I did was I found that branch on the bottom. I found it easiest to kind of line that up, and I don't think mine is absolutely perfect, but I don't think there is anything that is too much of a difference where it's super noticeable. And I did adhere this panel onto a piece of black cardstock, but since both the panel and the mat are the same size pretty much. It's not super noticeable. You can just see a little bit of that black peeking through. But that's going to do it for the first card. For the second card, I'm going to use some pattern paper, and I really did a number on this card. I don't know if I knew what I was doing, but what I ended up doing was cutting out 2 pieces of pattern paper exactly the same, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. For some reason, I used this mandala die, and for some reason, I die cut through both of the pieces of paper. I have no idea why. I was going to try the same technique as the first card, and then just use like a double die, just use the mandala and then use that die that I used for the first card, and I messed it up. And so what I ended up doing was I'm going to attach the die cut piece that I've already cut out, which is this really beautiful pattern paper from Prima. And I added some artist tack to the back of it, which is basically little micro dots. And for a die that's as intricate as this, it's super helpful to use. So I'm taking the mandala piece and I will be adhering that to a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 piece of cardstock. And then I'm going to take the cover plate die, the same die that I used for the first card, and I am going to run that through my die cut machine. And this is kind of where I was like, I don't know what I just did. I don't know why I did that. And I was about ready to just kind of put it away and not even make the card. But I really love the pattern paper, and I think that mandala die piece with that pattern paper, I just think it's really super beautiful. And so what I ended up doing was I ended up taking the cover die piece, this piece right here, and adding a little bit of liquid adhesive to the back of that, and I'm going to adhere that flat onto that white piece of cardstock that's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And basically what I ended up doing was taking all of the pieces and just inserting anything that had a pattern on it back into place where it belonged in that pattern. So you'll notice like the edge pieces that don't have a pattern, I did not insert another piece of white cardstock in there. It's just left open pretty much. But I really love how this portion turned out. And so I went ahead and just filled in all of those pieces. And then I grabbed a die from my stash, a butterfly die, and cut out several butterflies and layered those, and then added a sentiment, and I'm going to add a little bit of gold splatter, and that's going to finish off this card. I'd love to know which card you like the best. Let me know below in the comments. I hope you go ahead and click on the hashtag and check out everybody's take on the inspiration piece. And don't forget, you can play along as well. All the information will be in the description. As always, if you like this video or found it informative, I would love a thumbs up. Thanks so much for joining me today, and I hope to see you next time.